Welcome back guys, and today I've got a van full of lots of backerboard and self-leveling compound. And that's because I've got this big concrete slab here to level up, which is going to be an inside garden room. Now the existing floor level is here. This is the highest point, so this has all got to be level to the same height. And you can see we've already put some screwed guide points into the floor already, so like that's 35mm low, 40mm, etc., just to get a rough idea of what's what on the floor. Now instead of using 1,000 bags of self-leveling, probably the most cost effective and easier way of doing this is to use a mix of both backerboard and self-leveling. So that'll be the plan, to put 20mm backerboard down over most of the floor, then probably some 12mm on top, then use the self-leveling to start bringing it into our existing internal floor here to make sure this is all nice and level all the way through. So today I'll show you the process of me self-leveling this and sorting this floor out so it's nice and level. And I've got a nice collection of 12mm, 20mm, a lot of self-leveling and some adhesive to do it with. So the first thing to do is to give it a good old sweep and clean up. Then I'll be priming it with some SBR bond to help the adhesive stick well for the backerboards like this, which will basically stuck down to the floor with adhesive. I may screw the first row in just to mechanically fix it so it's all nice and solid, but we'll see as we go. So yeah, just give the floor a clean, give it a good prime, and that'll help the bond of the adhesive. Before I get too carried away with the sweeping, health and safety first. I've got this new dust mask from Basecamp to try out today, the M model, so I'll be using that throughout the day and give you my review on it at the end. We'll give it a good test how it works with not steaming up my glasses. Getting these to around the ears. Velcro at the back. Feels good. For a completely blind person like me, there's no steaming or anything so far, so this nose clip seems to work really good. Feels nice and comfortable, so far so good. Nice, I've given that a rough sweep now, so onto the priming. So I'll just dilute down this SBR primer and just apply it with a sponge, just to get rid of some more dust, and it'll help the adhesive bond better. So that's all the primer on across the floor. While that's drying, let's just talk about tools. So don't need too much for this. So mixer for knocking up adhesive and self-leveling, some ear defenders, 10mm trowel for laying the backerboard, bucket trowel, scraper, dust mask, which we spoke about earlier, which has been good so far, hammer, knife, pens, tape, extension. Got my levels there. I'll be using quite a lot of water, and I'll be knocking up in a gorilla tub as we need quite a lot of stuff. So yeah, you don't need too many tools. So yeah, I'll basically be using the 10mm trowel to stick down the 20mm backerboard first here, and like I say, I may mechanically fix it through because it's quite uneven on this first part of the floor, but we'll see how that goes down. And then I'll be sticking some 12mm on top, and then that should start bringing us up to finish off with self-leveling. I'll be using some backerboard strips as guides to put this all into sections for self-leveling, so maybe like 3 sections here. It's a lot easier to self-level if you put this perimeter in here and then you're just pouring into here. As soon as you get up to your guideline here, you know that you're good. On a big area, I'd always advise that's a lot easier to do it that way, to make sure you're absolutely bang on. Also, good thing with using backerboard and using strips for it is it helps for expansion, that it's splitting up the area and the screed a bit as well. So lots of good positives there. So yeah, as soon as this primer's dry, I'm going to start sticking the 20mm boards down. So I'll just start dry laying some of these backerboards first to see how it all works out. Cut them down to size. I'll just use a saw and knife to cut them, then I'll come back and stick them once I've got a few dry laid.
Backerboards are super easy to cut and lightweight. They have good bonding, insulating and waterproof properties, so they're the best and ideal board to use. I'm just using my tape and pen here to mark around things and cut with a small saw.
And what I did there was just take a measurement, because these boards are 60 centimetres. So I just took a measurement to where 60 centimetres finishes, and then just took the mark down, and then that gives me the angle. Not bad, that'll do the job. They don't need to be too accurate, so there's lots of layers going on top, and they're just to start bringing the height up of the floor basically. So I'm just going to continue dry laying a few more of these and then stick them down.
I haven't got any real particular process to how they're laid down, and they don't need to be that neat. I'm just filling up the area as they'll all be covered.
So I've got quite a few boards down now, and I'm just checking this bit here, and I'm just using my screw here, which is level with the highest point over there. And if I put the level on the screw, I can see I'm getting a little bit high over there. So what I'm going to have to do is bring, you see that's now higher there, so I need to bring the level back, and I'll give it a little bit of play to allow for the adhesive, so that's level there. So I'm actually going to chop this board back to here somewhere, and instead of 20mm, I'll fill that in with the 12mm, so the self-level will go in there and bring it up to height. Otherwise, let's say we're going to end up being higher there, where we don't want that scenario. And the same with this bit here, this will probably just be a little infill of 12mm, and once this hole here is all filled in, this will probably just be self-leveled through, because the floor ramps right up here. So a few alterations there. That I'm just going to self-level, I think, because it's got quite a big bump there, and these are replaced for 12mm. And again, I don't really want to go too much more in there, so I'll let the self-level do that. So now I can pull these up and just start sticking them down. I'll get this locked down, and then I'll concentrate on this back half here.
I'm just mixing up a rapid set flexible adhesive here to stick them down. That way I can get straight back on them relatively quickly and carry on. A quick sweep and using my 10mm notch trowel to spread the adhesive. I give the boards a good stamp to ensure a good connection with the adhesive, especially where the floor's a little bit wonky. In the end they stuck pretty well and were really solid, so I didn't bother using any additional fixings. So just carrying on and checking with my level as I go to make sure I'm not higher than I need to be. I filled in the edges and in between the boards with excess adhesive for extra strength. Then I moved on to cutting some 4mm strips for my guides.
Okay, so I've got most of the 20mm board stuck down now, and the 12mm over there, so that's probably as far as I go with that. I've just got a little bit more to do in this section. I've cut off some 4mm Backerboard strips, so what I'm going to do now is start making some sections for the self-leveling, and I'll see what I can top up over there where it's really low with the 12mm, and the same down here. I've just put a little bit of 12mm board from here, from my highest point over there, and then I'll turn the level the right way, and then just making sure to get that so that is reading dead level. So that's from the highest point to there, and then I can use this piece here now all the way down there for my strips to go across and make sure I'm level with this. I'll check it with the laser level and Datum once I've done them. That just gives me a way of something to work to here to make sure I get some something level to work to across here.
So here I just start by laying a few strips out to see what I need to get up to level. Take your time here because this part really determines your self-leveling on your floor. And I'll show you an easy way you can check them with a laser level later on. I use my tape to keep them straight, although not essential. I draw a line so I know where to put them. Then for fixing, I just basically load them up with adhesive and use the level to push them down and compact them until they read plumb. And just checking it back to my original high point until I'm happy. Where it needs to come up quite a bit, I just double up the strips. Different sizes of Backerboard are handy here. As long as you end up with a strip that is level to your highest point, that's all that matters. And these will stick incredibly well, and also to the self-leveling.
Nice, I'll just show you on the level here. So from the highest point to my guide here, we're completely level, and then we go from our guide there to that over there, and we're completely level, and then we can just use that. You see that's completely level across there, and then once that all goes off, that cuts that off into a section where we can just self-level in this section. We know as soon as it hits the top of this, that's all good. But I'll probably put another section, just section it off down the middle there as well, so we've got two in there. Just makes self-leveling a lot easier, and then I'll continue that back, maybe put another one here somewhere.
So here it's just rinse and repeat until I have another level section guide. And as I say, this will make pouring the self-level so much easier as you'll have something to work to.
My level section here to the back, that's touching where it ramps up, and that is not far off level. It needs to come up a touch, so I may just self-level this whole section without adding any 12mm board. And I may do the same with this one, because this one doesn't need much, and that just gets this quarter of the floor out of the way. So I think I'm going to go ahead here and just chuck them in that. I've got my section markers to work to, and then the same with that one there, just get this bit done.
I chuck a bag of self-leveling compound into the section, then straight on to mixing up another. I mark the high bit where I want no self-leveling, then it's just a case of smoothing it out and getting it moving until you hit the guides. Also, I generally mix my self-level a little bit wetter than what the bag would usually say, just to make sure it actually flows well. And you can see after every pour, I just give it a good move around until I'm happy.
Mask is still working very well, still not steamed up, really impressed by this. So there we go, we're just about hitting our guides here. It may be a little bit low there, but it's just trying to use the 2 bags up for this bit and just see how she dries up, and then I can always add to the corner as I come through there. But that's basically one section filled, and I can move on to the second section, and then tomorrow I can just do any fine tuning with it, but that's looking pretty good so far.
Same process here, I just knock up a couple of bags and keep pouring and smoothing until I'm happy there is enough self-level in that section. And when it hits the top after it's settled, we should be all good.
Okay, there we go, and that's them 2 sections done there. I've just topped that bit up a little bit because it looks a bit low on the screw. And that's now flowing nicely through there and hitting the section guidelines there. So I'll leave that there for today, and then tomorrow I can do another section across here. Probably put some 12mm in there, just a strip there. Do the same thing and then work back in probably 3 sections here. And I can check that tomorrow, and hopefully that should be all good with the high point. Typical British weather is absolutely smashed it down overnight, so this floor is soaked. I can't believe I was getting sunburnt yesterday. And then there we go. So the plan for today would be to get this dried out. Luckily these boards are waterproof anyway. This self-leveling should be fine once it dries out. It's meant to be a bit showery still throughout the day, so I want to try and get some more leveling strips through there, get some self-leveling down. Then I've got some Ditra uncoupling mat to go on top of this floor, as it is tiled anyway, and then that will waterproof and protect all of this until I get back to actually tile it. So let's get this dried up and see what I can do.
And nothing better than a good old sponge for this job.
Okay, so the floor is starting to dry out now. Things are looking up as we now have a roof on top. There's a few bits, like I was saying yesterday, which are going to need to be filled just down the side of these leveling guides there, just so there's not enough self-leveling in the mixer, but just fill that in, smooth that over. And I just want to show you how you can use a laser level as a datum line. So you can put a laser level down anywhere, and then you can mark a point. So say let's put it on our guide here. So I've put a mark on my level here. You see I just mark the laser line when my thumb is there, so I've got some dashes going for it. And then you can take that over to say this part here, which is the same level as that, and you can see, move out the way, that laser line is going through them dashes as well. So then we know that this point here and this point here are exactly the same level, so that's looking good. So we just need to keep to that, and then this floor should be pretty much spot on. And I've just gone through with the level here, like making sure it's level there and looking at the gap underneath and just marking all the sections through here that just need a light topping up. So it's pretty much all against this guide marker here, so just down that bit there and into that bit there, and that should sort that out. So I'm just sussing this next section out here for my packer lines going across there. It pretty much goes to the concrete there, so I've got to be careful with that. I picked up some 6mm Backerboard today, which is a bit easier to pack down and do these guidelines with. So I'm going to get some cut through here, get some in here, and then go to nothing there, and then we should be able to fill in this section. And I can see if I can put some 6 or 12mm in there actually, and depending on how high the back is, like I said before, I'll put some 12mm in here or something, just to limit the amount of self-leveling that's going in there. And again, just cutting off some 40mm strips here for the packers.
So measuring with the tape to place them straight and doubling up if I need to, I get them stuck down and just check it all around with my level to make sure everything is at the exact same height. This bit can be a bit time consuming, but it's worth putting in the prep. Also, it worked out nicely for me while the floor was drying out.
And there we go, I've just set that one there using some 6 and some 4mm because it goes up to nothing there, well that's a high point. So just again waiting for this to dry a bit, but that's fine to put down for now. And then I can just fill in, like I say here, with either some 6mm or 12mm just to limit the amount of self-leveling, and then I can just fill it back. But next thing is I'll probably clean that out and probably fill that with something. And yeah, once this is dry I can get this section filled in, and then that's half the floor out of the way. Cool, so I've just cut in a 12mm there as far as I can go this way with it before it would have to go down in size, so that'll do. It's still got a bit of a belly in this floor here, so it will have a light bit of self-level over the top, but that would take out a bit of it. It's level across the off the back there. Cleaned out this hole, which I'm going to fill with self-level. So yeah, bar something in there. This section's pretty much good to go, and things are starting to dry out now.
Back to mixing up here. I don't put it all in at once, just so I can give the bottom a quick mix first, then I'll chuck the rest in. I just keep pouring, adding and moving it around until it gets to the correct height. This self-level is a medium set, so it gives you a good bit of time to play around with it, although you'll still see me nipping up and down like a yo-yo. I'm a creature of habit. So hopefully you're getting the picture here now that anything can be sorted out relatively easily to get a good base for tiling or things like wood flooring. If you can't lower the height, you can bring it up to level like I've shown you here. No more excuses of, well, that's the best we could do, it's the old floor. I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard that throughout my tiling career. I get there's always cost involved, but it's worth paying a bit extra for a good surface, and it will actually make things a bit cheaper for the trades following.
Nice, that's that section filled now, and I've just topped up that bit down the perimeter there, as I said from earlier. I've got something in that hole there to start going off, so I can add to that later. So yeah, this should allow me to, once this goes off, it should take about 3 hours. I'll be able to get some Ditra mat in on that lot later to protect that from any more weather if it gets through the roof. Then next it's just starting to work on this side really.
I just put this side into 3 sections as it seemed easier for reaching over and working in the end.
Nice, good progress here. The wind's getting up and I think the rain may come soon, but I've just put that one in and then I've marked, and I'm just going to put that one in. That gives me a couple of good sections there. This one's quite low, so I'll be filling this up with quite a bit of board here, and then I can get these 2 sections filled in and finish up with a third here.
Cue my finest tap dancing skills.
Okay, you can see I'm using 12mm Backerboard here to just fill up the really low points, and that'll be really nice for the self-level. I'm going to do the same in that part. The rain is coming in now, so we'll see how this makeshift shelter handles up. It's getting pretty windy as well, but at the moment so far so good. I just need to get that done and get this self-leveling on. And you can just see there that I've kept it about 12mm low. There's a bit of a raindrop there. And yeah, I'm making sure I keep below my level guidelines. Okay, they're all stuck there. They're stuck. I've just got this little lot here to stick. I've gone 20, a 12 and a 12 to sort of step it back in. So just need to get them stuck down. Then I've got 1, 2, 3 sections to self-level, and then I'm pretty much there. So that's a bag that I've put in there, and you can just see it's a couple of mil below my guide point, and this is why they're so good, because I know now that I need probably another 1/4 of a bag, and over there I've got a little guide. So as soon as it hits the top of this, then I'm happy. So I know I need to add more, and that's why having these level guide points are really good when self-leveling.
And I'm just going for it now, pure self-leveling. The weather is getting rough, so I just mix and pour and repeat.
Okay, so close there, just probably 1 bag or maybe 1.5 bags short just for this last bit here. So they look pretty good. What I'll probably do is start putting some Ditra uncoupling matting down on this section here just to protect it. Again, I don't know how long this roof's going to last for, if it rains again overnight. And in the morning I can use a bag of rapid self-leveling, which will go off in about an hour, just to finish that last bit. And again, get this covered up with the matting. then it's all safe from the elements until it's tiled. Getting very windy now and the roof is ripping apart, so got to get this Ditra matting down quite soon just in case it rains again. And while I'm just chucking a level over that, I'll just show you, look, that's not too bad at all for it there. It's bang on level. There's the odd couple of mil there which will soon disappear when I put the Ditra on in a minute, but again, considering this floor is 40-50 mil out of level, all like this, that is that's pretty good, and it's pretty flat, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Again, that's where using these guides for self-leveling comes in really handy. Make sections, pour sections, and then you shouldn't be too far off. Right, let's get this Ditra mat down.
So as well as helping with the floor movement, the Ditra is waterproof, which is going to help great here, as I won't be back to tile this floor for about 4 weeks, so this will help keep it in good shape and it'll be ready to tile.
Okay, that's the first bit all cut to size. That should be good enough. Like I'm literally in a storm here. I'll just use my marker to draw a line down the mat as a spread line when I come to spread it, like so, and then I'll just continue getting a few more sections down there and then get this stuck down.
So I'm sure you know now if you've watched my other videos, but for the Ditra I prime the floor, then the adhesive is mixed up very wet but still able to hold the notch of the trowel. Then with my 6mm trowel I'll just spread the whole patch, trying to keep the ribs in the same direction. Chuck the matting down, give it a good stamp to get it connected, then using my level I'll push through it, pushing the air bubbles out and collapsing the ribs, giving me a good bond to the floor. Once one section's down I just move straight on to the next.
Just while I'm having fun battling the elements and pushing this Ditra down, again you can see the bang on, and because of the Ditra and the adhesive underneath, we've basically got no gaps underneath our level now, so we're looking pretty good to achieve that perfectly level floor there. Get one more bit of Ditra down today, that'll do, and then come back tomorrow, finish that bit up. There we go, that's the last bit of Ditra down there, and that'll do for today. It's turning pretty wild now, so have a nice clear up now and then just get that bit finished tomorrow. Okay, next day now, weather's a little bit better, even though it does look grey, but it's less windy. I've just put 2 bags of rapid self-leveling on this part here, which I think should be okay, but there are a few gaps which are pulling some of it down, so if it does go any more then I'll just put another bag on top of it, and that'll be all fine. So obviously did this bit yesterday, this is all great, and then as soon as that's dry, just going to get some more of the uncoupling mat over this section here, and then that is all done. Okay, that's all dried up now, and as I first thought, you see the level is level there and it's low there, so it has been pulled out into the corner. So I need to fill in around here. I think this side's okay here, so I've just gone and got another bag. Just starting to rain now, which is great, so we see how that goes, but I'll try and chuck some down if the rain doesn't go too heavy here. Hopefully it's just a little shower, then I can finally get the Ditra matting down. The rain stopped here, so I started mixing my art, then it started raining hard again, so I thought it's going down whatever anyway now, but it's stopped again at the moment, but just get this down. That'll do. I've gone with quite a wet mix, hence you'll see a little bit bumpy bits in there which are just whacked out, but that'll just make it actually flow so I don't create any bumps in it. So I think that should be pretty good now, so let that one go off. Hopefully it doesn't rain anymore, get the matting down. With this mask, along with the other masks I've used from Base Camp, it's been pretty damn flawless, no steaming, it's been comfy to wear, and it's protected me from all the dust I've created. So I'll leave some links to that in the description of the video if you're interested. And there we go, that is all done. From a floor that was about 50mm out of level in some areas to now a perfectly flat level floor. So I hope you enjoyed watching the process of me doing it and you picked up some tips and tricks along the way. I'll leave links in the description to the dust masks and any tools I've used in the video. It was a bit of a challenge with the weather, but we got through it. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.